Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Mentoring with Geraldine and the Bite Size Podcast. Or if you found us, of course, there's the YouTube channel so that you can see what Christine from the Herbal Extract Company has brought today to talk about. And it is clove. I'm sure you've all heard of clove, you've seen it, smelt it. And if you think about it for a moment, you can probably smell that Christmas smell in your mind if we're not already at Christmas by the time this is published. So it might be surrounding you at the moment, and you might have had it in mulled wine even. So it's an amazing and long-lived herb, and it's got some phenomenal conversation behind it and tradition behind it. So welcome, Christine. And please tell us about clove.
Yes, well, it is one of those spices that was part of the spice trade, along with cinnamon. And it, I've got some of the raw material here while we're talking about it. It's a beautiful, distinctive, it's actually the unopened bud of a flower, like the floral bud of an evergreen tree.
Wow.
I'm sure you've all seen those. I don't know if you can see that, but and there's the raw material that we use.
Yep,
and
lovely and dark.
Amazing aroma. And I guess one of the things, there's quite a large percentage of essential oil in clove, which gives it this amazing aroma, and that's where a lot of its action comes from. And just while we're here, I'll show you this is our product. So, oh, look at that.
Wow, doesn't that change so significantly when it goes into water?
Yeah, it goes into the milky, and
it has almost a life of its own in that water, doesn't it?
And that's all the different constituents.
Yeah.
Very cloudy, and again, an amazing aroma. As you said, very Christmassy, which is why we've chosen to do this one, because, I mean, as you said, the stories around it. So actually it's shaped world history, clove, being part of the spice trade. It spurred expeditions and wars and monopolies and generated fantastic wealth in the early days, and also created great suffering. But just because of all these, the sort of the expeditions and wars that it's created. But because it was used in trade. And in medieval Europe, spices were scarce, hence why they were so expensive. And so clove was actually seen as a sign of indulgence. I mean, in modern society now, they're just dime a dozen, aren't they? You wouldn't even think about it. But it was a sign of indulgence, a show of wealth. Hence, it was a rare prize. It was reserved for special occasions. So hence why it was brought out at Christmas time. Yeah. And used as in the pomanders. So hopefully everyone who's listening is going to make some pomanders for Christmas, where you pierce the skin of an orange with the clove, and it gives off an amazing orange clovey aroma, which reminds us all of Christmas. It's a decoration, but also useful for keeping away insects, and is another use for the pomanders. Not only scent the house, but keep away moths and other insects.
Which is perfect for Christmas in Australia and New Zealand and in this side of the world, where, they might be keeping away the moths and smelling in the northern hemispheres, and it's winter and it's cold and it's dark. If we've got something else rather than just citrus, the citronal, calendars, the candles, then to have something else that will keep away some of those bugs, and give you that lovely Christmassy smell is going to be, amazing, just what we need. I haven't seen pomander made for years, and maybe I might actually make one this year. And if I do, I will post it in the group Strictly Education and Sport, where I always am on a Tuesday, doing Training Tuesday. So
a good craft with the kids, actually, I find. Here's an orange, here's some cloves, stick them in.
Yeah.
And then making patterns, and it's very easy to do, and just have them on the table, and the aroma is so beautiful.
Yeah, so beautiful. The main medicinal applications, of course, are digestive disorders, but a lot of people will notice it from, oral as well, from tooth pain. And for the essential oil. So it actually just goes on to the space in the mouth, so we can put it directly on. But we don't need a lot of it.
You can chew. Well, as you can chew them as well to get that action. In the highlight that I wrote in 226 BC, the Chinese were chewing them before they had an audience with the emperor.
Ooh.
So they had sweet breath.
Wow.
So it's been around for a very long time as well. But and even now, I mean, if you go to your dentist, they will have clove in their surgery for packing after operations. It's actually used in practice, in medical practice. So it is one of the few herbs that gets used in medical practice.
Yeah, well, it's that local anesthetic and analgesic. So of course it's absolutely perfect to pack around a tooth where they've just done that bit of surgery, and it smells nice and all of the things that go with it. So because of that eugenol in it, so it's absolutely perfect to have at the dentist. So I wonder if the dentists will start having the Pomodoro in there. And they can have their orange and clove on the counter.
To recommend it. Don't know if they take it that far. But obviously the aroma is also coming from the essential oil, and that's where most of the research has been done. When I've researched this herb, there's not a lot done on the whole herb. Right. But because there is a lot of essential oil in the raw material, then a lot of these studies can translate into the whole herb as well, which means, it's very high in antioxidants. Yeah. And as you said, that local anesthetic and analgesic, vermifuge for worms, viral and bacterial infections, and as well as, it can be used for coughs as well. It's got that expectorant action. So again, we've talked about a thyme recently. Yeah. It has that essential oil that's working on the infections, and it's very versatile actually. It is. With the digestive disorders, indigestion, so good after Christmas dinner. Yeah. So I mean, it's immune modulation and oxidative stress. So.
Yeah, it's great for external application and internal application. So that's one of the things that I do encourage when people are thinking about using a herb, is the on and in. So if we're using it for, fungal infections or athlete's foot or whatever it might be, it's also a case of writing the microbiome and changing the internal makeup of the body as well. So we're not going to ingest essential oil as the way to go. Whereas the tincture has 18% of essential oil in the bud. So you're going to get a small amount of that essential oil, which is probably just the right amount, because again, this is by creating this tincture, we're getting something that's very close to nature, and it's now grows in lots of places and it's readily available. It doesn't cause war anymore, thankfully, but it's a really, really versatile herb, and I certainly have it on my shelf. So when I bought clove, though, a little trick for those who are new to practice is you don't use much of it. It's a very small amount that is used in a tincture. It's, so I actually shared a bottle with another naturopath. So we bought one bottle and we took half each. And that's been, it's great, when you're buying your herbs, if you've got another naturopath or herbalist that you buy with, because with something like herb, which is quite specific, although quite wide usage range, it's quite a low dose herb, so we don't use much of it. But it is a fantastic Christmas herb, and here we are getting close to Christmas, so it's the perfect, or around Christmas by the time this is published, so it's absolutely brilliant for now. And we can create our own little orange with stick those cloves in that orange.
Yes. Yes, and remember to use some for your indigestion after your Christmas.
Yes.
If you eat too much,
great for indigestion, digestive, and it's going to freshen that breath after all of that food that you've just eaten over the over the festive time. So not that I'm going to be chewing a whole clove anytime soon. I've got to be honest. That's not a top priority for me. But it is a fantastic herb, and it's so interesting that that it was used to create, and cause destruction, really. And it changed a world landscape, as many things change the world landscape. Clove has that honor of being one of those things that changed a landscape all those years ago. So a really interesting herb. So have we got anything else we've missed? Let's see that herb again, the liquid herb, because it changed so completely once it went in, because of the constituents within the clove. So, it's got a milky colour in there for those on the podcast rather than the YouTube channel. It's very, very milky, very smooth looking. And that's because of those constituents in it, rather than it just being clear. It's a very different look.
We have the...
and we can see those little clove buds. Yeah, you can see how they're a flower with the little edges around them, or the unopened flower. So, so amazing. So thank you very much.
Sorry, I was just saying, with living in Sri Lanka, there's a lot of, it's called the Spice Isle. There's a lot of clove trees. And it looks just like that on the tree, but green.
Green, of course.
Right. Yeah, so they're beautiful to look at as well.
Wow.
Trees, they're growing everywhere.
Yeah, and of course, if they're coming from somewhere like Sri Lanka, it's going to be very hard for them to trade all those years ago.
Yeah.
They would have been, you've got to get them from an island over to the mainland, and then you've got to track them all the way up across through Europe to get to everywhere. So no wonder they were so prized and so difficult to get if they're coming from island states and from, that environment that's, by the time they got there, I'm sure they were dried. But that's amazing. They're absolutely amazing little buds. So, they're great. Is there anything else we've missed? Is there anything we've forgotten? I think we've covered it, haven't we? Good old clove. So, so thank you very much for joining me again on the Bite Size Podcast, and I really look forward to seeing you again very soon.
See you soon.